So here I am, wide-eyed and overwhelmed, looking at what could be our new home. This is the dream, right here. This is the dream.
It's a terrible lot.
I think this is why the lot's less.
Holy shit, we can get land this cheap?
Be at least $20,000 to even try to build a house on that other lot.
If you haven't noticed, the cost of living and housing is skyrocketing, nearly out of our reach. We just need something, anything. A shack, a tiny house, heck, at this point I'll even share a cabin with some rodents. Just something to get us into the market. But in order to do so, we kind of have to get creative. So I flew thousands of miles away to search for what could be our new home. But more importantly, we can't stay in our mother's basements forever. Sorry, Mom. And if you're new here, we're Colin and Paige, and we've traveled in this van for the last year and a half, mostly escaping Canadian winters, because those are cold and they kind of suck. But as we look to the future, wanting to set roots somewhere and maybe start a family, we need a home base of our own. So let the search commence.
You just start the show every time. I'm sorry, I had to.
So cute. So cute and dirty. Oh my god.
I know what you're thinking. Didn't you guys just get, back in the van?
Don't worry. This van isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
It's one of those rare Arizona days where it's not sunny. Just weird. Usually we don't have to look at the weather at all. We're just like, oh, it's sunny. Ha ha ha.
It's actually really cold today.
It's cold. But you know what's hot? That real estate market. Bad transition. So shall we talk to the people about what's going on in our lives?
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
Hold on. Benji needs a little lift.
There's a cattle guard.
Okay, watch the cutest thing Benji does. Because he's so small and we have such a big bed, we had to teach him this thing. We call it elevator. But basically, I'll put my hand down and he's just gonna jump into it to be picked up. Come here.
Oh,
come on.
Good job.
And now we carry him over to the cattle grates. Carefully.
I know this is probably going to seem a little abrupt considering we are back in the van and we're...
Literally just back in the van.
But over the past year of us living in a van full time, we realized that maybe we aren't exactly the... Oh my God, there's a cow.
There's a cow. Turn the camera.
Okay, we'll continue the story in a second. Let's go look at some cows.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Okay, back the other way.
After 1 year in the van, we kind of realized that we need some space too.
We can't live in our mom's basement forever. Love you, moms. Plural, because we lived in both basements. Well, this story starts back in September when I hopped on one of those bird-like sky buses, flying 1,100-ish miles from our hometown near Toronto to Halifax, Nova Scotia, our new potential home. It's a great day to look at some land.
I'm at the first property, but this is the road to get to it. It's not a road. It's like an ATV trail.
I don't think I can drive down that in my rental car. I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know if I'm supposed to wait for the realtor, because I don't think she's driving down this. And the problem is, I don't have cell service, so I don't even know if the realtor is gonna drive down or I gotta meet her here. But I mean, this isn't exactly a good sign. Okay, update. I think I went to the wrong spot. I'm gonna find out. Okay. Well, this is better. Okay, I lied again. I'm on the wrong road again. You think I would be smarter? Sorry, Pat. I don't mean to be late. All right, I think this is it. I might be wrong, but I think this is it. Honestly, third time's a charm. I did get a warning text that this road was SUV only and that there might be mice in the place. It's okay if it's abandoned. It's okay if it has good bones, but that might be a little too much. Welcome to Property 1, the abandoned lake house. It was cute, and it was on a really nice lake, but we actually noticed black mold in the window, and with the mouse and safety warnings from the listing agent, we didn't even go in. Kind of an instant no. Basically, real estate agent didn't feel good about the one that we were just going to look at. It's just too much money for what it is. It would be a lot of work. Property 2, the little blue cabin, was absolutely adorable. Sure, it was outdated, but it was basically move-in ready.
Oh, but it's cute.
Oh, love it.
Retro? It's cute.
I could see a lot of potential here, with 2 bedrooms and 1 bath and even a closed-in porch. With a little fixing, updating, and converting it to withstand all 4 seasons, we could have our very own little home. But then I saw this.
Oh, that's scary. That's not the vibe we like.
This kind of changed everything. A driveway to the lot behind this cabin went right through the land. Even though this cabin had all the potential, all of a sudden, I wasn't so sure. Property 3 had a weird cabin, but it was a rad lot. This is probably more of a camp than cabin, let's be honest. But it was on a beautiful lake and was completely cleared and ready for building.
Oh, it's a box. It's a box. You could do a lot with this, though.
Definitely not wet certified.
No.
This cabin was fixable. The lot had a great driveway and lake, but they were asking way too much. The last property on day one was a partially developed land. To be honest, this had nothing to do with the trailer or the pool, and everything to do with the land having hydro, a driveway, and a parking area, expediting any potential builds. Meaning we could live in our van or the trailer with power right away, and that's sort of huge. The land had lots of potential, though after bushwhacking, the lot felt pretty small. And with our goal being tucked in the woods, I have a lot to think about. But the price was pretty darn good and worth consideration.
Is it possible for us to have our own home base? Is it possible for us to get into the market before it's too late? Because real estate market in Canada, especially where we're from in Ontario, Southern Ontario, is like absolutely insane. And it's kind of like we missed the boat. Like I have friends that have doubled their money in houses
In the last 10 years.
in like the last like 6 or 7 years. Traditionally, I've loved like tiny house design and the idea and being financially more flexible, or in some cases liberated
And
by.
it's still bigger than the van. Like it's still bigger than the space we currently live in.
But then I looked up just the cost of the trailer alone, and it was like 17,000 Canadian dollars before tax.
It was eye-opening.
And I was like, damn girl, that's basically a foundation of a house, like in cost-wise.
Yeah.
Not like literally, because literally it's the foundation of the tiny house, which is a foundation of a house, but I meant like of like a real house. So at that point, looking at how expensive it could actually be to build a tiny home, I kind of had the realization that, is it just smarter for us to put our money, or not a lot of money that we have, into a home that could actually build equity? Because traditionally tiny homes don't build equity. Like, sure, you could build it and sell it for profit, but if we lived in that tiny home over time, are we really making any money?
Not really. And then we also had to consider, we have the van. So then if you have a van and a tiny house, which themselves is valuable, but neither of them really build equity. And it's not really like a long-term solution.
Because then if you really think about it, we have two assets that are kind of depreciating.
It just didn't seem smart.
It's like over $100,000 in depreciating assets, which doesn't make that much sense. And one of the reasons why we thought tiny house could be such a good option is because my mom owns a couple acres, and she always just like, hey, just like park in the back. Like, why don't you just build a tiny home in the back? And we're like, honestly, not a bad idea. So we would have a place to park it, not of our own, but at least for the time being, we would have a place to park it, which would be really, really great. And that could solve like a short-term problem. And then maybe we can move the tiny home to our own property.
Yep.
And then slowly build and build. But then like all of our capital is in the tiny home, and then we'd have to do it step by step, and then we're kind of behind on the market anyways. So we had to kind of consider all of this.
Yeah.
And then we felt like, hey,
Maybe
tiny house isn't it.
no.
There's also a whole nother issue of tiny homes in Canada where we couldn't get any straight answers from the county that if we could actually have a tiny home. It's in such a gray area that we could potentially even be fined for having one, or if they find
Yeah.
out that we live in one.
So with tiny houses kind of out of the question, our search continues.
Which is also why I'm in Nova Scotia, if you haven't gathered.
You're in Nova Scotia and in Arizona at the
I'm
same
in
time.
two places. I have a different haircut. If you think about it, I'm actually time traveling. I'm here on your screen now, but also like 6 months ago. Okay, it's raining. Let's go inside. Bye.
Those maples, pretty.
What you think?
Big trees. It's actually quite clear. It's not as dense as I would have imagined.
So this is the one that we've been like really eyeing. It's on the water. It's 1.8 acres on the water with Lakers? Technically, it's correct. 1.8 acres.
It's important to look up and to look around because like it's pretty dense, but there's some nice big old growth trees on this lot. Like some nice hemlocks, maples. Very pretty.
It's kind of funny looking at in a lot of trees, but a lot of trees. Because you just kind of have to like picture what you would do. But there is a lot of really beautiful trees here.
Basically, that line of trees right there, that's where it gets soft.
Yeah.
See where it's like grassy? I just built your house right up here.
So if it's marshy, like what would you have to do to get access to that lake?
you could go right in. It's just like it might not be deep for a while.
Yeah, you certainly could build a nice tree house here.
No, Mark.
Yeah.
So you would be building a nice like walkway here, like deck. You know, like the Muskoka homes where they have like the big, nice runway. House more on top of the hill, so you never have to worry about water damage. And then you build like a nice, beautiful deck that like cantilevers off with a 4-foot walkway all the way here, which then brings you to another little platform and then a dock. This is so easy, clearing sand.
Keep in mind, like this is we have low water right now.
That'll stay.
This is like the most like lily you're gonna see here, which is good to know. Like it's not good, like it's gonna be like, the water will be higher than this almost always.
Like, do you want to be able to swim? Because you can't swim here. I think this is why the lot's less.
And because
Or boats, it's a viewing lake.
or like a kayak canoe, or even like a trolling motor could get by, but like nothing.
That's okay though.
Yeah.
Depending. It would be very quiet.
So quiet.
Way more peaceful.
This is a waterfront property, but clearly like it's not deep enough to potentially put like a power boat of some sort, because it's in like a little cove and there's quite a bit of marshland near the edge.
I can see it though.
This would be really nice, like to build the house right here though. It's like in the trees. If you like that's the size you want, maybe you have to cut down that one. But it all depends what kind of lake you want.
Like you can see bits of the lake once you open it up. Like right now it's really dense.
It's not initially not concerning like to be in the little cove. It'll probably be really quiet. It's okay that I wouldn't be able to get like a power boat or anything in there.
Yeah, and also
To me, I don't mind.
Could always install a pool.
It's true.
This lot was really beautiful, filled with old growth trees and natural clearings where we could potentially build. You could really imagine what it could become.
It's pretty wild being here and looking. I've been looking at these listings online for a really long time.
Though it's not exactly a premium waterfront, having access to some sort of water seemed really special, as we never thought that would be possible. But we did have one concern with water flowing into the lot from across the road.
I mean, I think the lot's beautiful. I think the water's beautiful. I actually think the river is like what's sketchy, because if they deem that like you can't do anything about it, it's natural, then you're
building.
You would own the lot, but that you'd only could like build in a very small section. If you could protect a building here by even like elevating, like you have all of that.
Highly doubt there's ever more water than there is here, right there. Like this is literally peat moss. Like I just can't imagine it being a lot. But who knows? It's the most Instagrammable thing. It's just like
I was gonna say
so pretty. Like it would be so
Boardwalk?
pretty.
Right down. So nice.
There is hydro and there is internet.
Bell fiber.
Bell fibe.
In the woods.
In the woods.
So fast.
Now, this is the first time I've ever looked at completely vacant land, and I was so grateful to have Jazz and Crystal guide me with their knowledge, as I was a bit over my head. But all in all, this lot had amazing potential. With water access and within budget, I was feeling pretty good about this one.
Doesn't happen often, but it's raining in the desert.
It's honestly probably a good thing. We got a fire warning sign the other day. It was like super windy and super dry. So thank you, rain.
When we were traveling last year, I'm pretty sure we went almost a 4-month span without seeing a single raindrop.
Oh my God, it was glorious.
But the funny thing is, when we got to Colorado and we could smell like moisture and trees, like we had such like a profound experience, because everything just smells and tastes like dirt.
I actually had this moment. We were hiking just outside of Denver through this forest and completely sober. But if you passed us, you probably wouldn't think that, because we're like, trees, moss, it's just so beautiful. It just like, once you don't smell it for a little bit and then you smell it again, it's just like the most wildest experience. And we probably looked like we were on something, but we weren't. And it was just a really beautiful human experience.
It's really beautiful to be in places like the desert with these mountains, but then you're like, damn dude, I like trees. We do seem like hippies, don't we? All right. Okay, so after we realized that a tiny house probably wouldn't work for us, we needed to look at some other options. And it was actually a conversation I had with one of my mom's friends who's a mortgage specialist, and he's like, have you ever thought about an accessory dwelling unit? And I was like,
For those that don't know, an ADU is short for an accessory dwelling unit. It's an accessory housing unit on a single-family residential lot. It could be an apartment over the garage, a basement apartment, or a standalone house in the backyard. With the astronomical cost of land in Canada, we bypass this purchase cost by having family provide the land, and in return, we build and share the new equity, as the total value of the land increases with the ADU having been built. Meaning, we all win and make some money. Plus, with water and hydro already on the property, and the land flat and cleared, it's a great way to save development costs.
So like this made a lot of sense, and we like cycled and thought about this for a really long time, like months, thinking that this could be a real option for us. But then when we started having conversations about like what would happen if we needed to sell because we needed to move into a bigger home?
Yeah.
What happens if my mom wants to sell and we're still in it?
Overall, I think it's just way more complicated if it's not a long-term solution, which for us, we didn't know if it would be. And we didn't want to leave her strapped with renters or someone that like now all of a sudden she's got this big property on her land. She's got people in it, like renters that she doesn't really know or care to have, and it just would create this whole big headache.
We went deep down the rabbit hole, contacting our local building department and environmental authorities, and even touring and pricing out prefab houses. But when talking with friends who have built before, we realized these are just way too damn expensive for what they are.
We realized that maybe one of the best ways that we could actually build equity would be, in fact, doing the labor ourselves.
In what you just said, the building.
The building. And to be honest, Mom, I know you're watching this. I love you. But I don't know if I want to be 45 years old and you can just like yell out the back door, Colin! Ding, 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 ding. Part of me just, if possible, would love a place of my own. I don't want to go from my mom's basement to my mom's backyard.
Or my mom's basement to his mom's backyard.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley.
Love you, darling.
Oh, okay, back to the story.
Welcome to the second option. This lot is actually the reason why I flew out here.
This is literally just a lot of trees. I mean, the price is right in this one. This is the one where we go, holy shit, we can get land this cheap?
Honestly, if you bought this land, you'll look back in like even 20 or 30 years and you'll be like, people won't believe you.
Well, shit, ton of trees. What can I tell you? It's like, how do you film this? I don't know.
Yeah, 3 acres. That's crazy. That's so much land.
Yeah.
What you could do with this land.
Yeah, it literally looks like 3 acres of dense trees, mostly flat, no like big hills. Of course, there's like little baby undulations and stuff like that, but relatively like probably more straightforward to build on. You think?
I think so. And also this price is just crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Welcome back.
The price of this lot was crazy, but we moved on to our third option in the remote woods.
Oh my god, there's power.
Yeah, there's power pole.
Oh, there's power.
There's literally power.
Like, look at this road.
You wanted to wake up and hear nothing.
That's true.
That's your only friend. Come on. Yeah, quiet.
Like no one
Is walking by your
Is
driveway.
gonna
And
come
if they
by.
are, you say, what are you doing over here? You're being weird. It's a straight level lot too. That's good to build on.
Like guys, like there's literally like just, this is a power pole up here, just in the woods.
That's wild.
This is like off-grid vibes, but there's f***ing power poles here.
Yeah.
This isn't by any means an expensive lot, would you agree?
No.
But it's a little bit more than the small one, but you're getting a lot more size. And if you really wanted the privacy, this is pretty incredible.
Let's just say, so do you want to spend less on the land, or do you want to spend more on the land but less on the house? What's more of your needs? Do you want a nicer property or do you want a nicer house? Because you can do the cheap lot.
I just want a house.
At this point, I saw 4 developed properties, 2 with some serious potential. But after looking at raw land, we loved the idea of starting with a blank canvas.
So the idea of having waterfront property as someone that grew up in Ontario is just like mind-boggling. Like it's just not something that is on your radar. When we were walking around there, it wasn't hard to imagine what life would be like there. You can see it, you can imagine it there.
We love this lot so much, a serious contender. But with a budget inland lot being less than half the price, we kind of love the idea of saving all that money.
Like to be able to get 3 acres of land on a serviced road with hydro and fiber optic internet at the road is absolutely unheard of.
Lot 3 was awesome, a middle ground with cost between the other 2. It was really remote and somehow still had hydro. And with it being over 5 acres, you ain't getting neighbors anytime soon.
But one thing we noticed was the road itself was a lot more rocky and unused, but that road probably doesn't get serviced in winter. If you want an all-season place to live, like, that could be difficult.
Now, I'm curious, what would you do? Would you be looking at a fixer-upper like this little blue cabin, maybe a property that already has hydro and a driveway, or would you start with a blank canvas with any of these vacant lots? We had our hearts set on 2 in particular, but more on that later.
There's so many options where like we actually just went this like whole roundabout way of like, oh, tiny house ADU, let's just like build a house. when most people would either be like, let's just build a house.
Some of you guys are wondering where we went, especially in the summer. We were stuck in this loop. You know, after doing a lot of research and thinking and talking about this, we realized that there's so many different ways. If you wanted to build your home, that you could do it. You could do it all yourself. You could put in every single nail and screw, pour every single lick of concrete. You can act as a GC or a general contractor and subcontract all the parts of the house build that you're maybe not comfortable with, maybe even all of them, and potentially save 20 or even 30% of the total house build cost just because you organized it and you managed it, and you managed all the people. But also, there's like a choose your own adventure, right?
There's
so
like
you could
everywhere in between that spectrum.
I might not want to do foundation, but I could hire a foundation and then I can still do the framing and all the other things.
Yeah.
You could also like get everyone to build the structure of the home and you do all the finishings. And all of these savings can be had by you making that sweat equity. And
Yeah, based on your time, your budget, what you feel comfortable with, skills, all that, yeah.
but it also means building more equity for ourselves through our own sweat equity, our own labor, to then have a more manageable mortgage, but also like a house that we can grow into, land that we can grow into, and not have to like think of like, oh, is this gonna last us 5 years? Is this gonna last us 10 years? Are we gonna wanna be on my mom's property? I'm sorry, Mom, I love you.
A lot of digs at moms in this video. No hard feelings there. We absolutely love you both. But we are...
She gets it.
We are a little too old for this.
Yeah, it's true.
So now that we know that maybe this is the option we want to do, build our own house, explore that option a bit further, we had to look where we could afford, and that happened to be on Canada's East Coast in Nova Scotia.
Okay, so where can we do this? And we started looking all over Canada and asking the question, like, where would we want to live and where could we afford? And that's exactly why I'm in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, so I've been sitting here texting Paige just about everything that I'm feeling being out here. And it just feels like a decision like this can't be taken lightly, but it also feels like it could be a really, really good move for us. I think the thing that's really getting me here is the question of what kind of life do you want to live? And what are you optimizing for? I think the thing that I'm realizing as I get older, I feel like what I need to optimize for is something I actually spoke with Jazz and Crystal about yesterday, is optimizing for something that a blanket term I call is optimizing for peace. And honestly, happiness for me is another name for peace. To me, happiness is peace. That's when, internal state is quiet. You're not longing for anything. Everything in this moment is enough. To me, that is peace. That is stillness. That is where I honestly feel the most like myself, is when I am a lot less stressed, a lot less worried and anxious, and I'm just really enjoying the present. And what I love about the life out here and what the vibe, the feeling that I get when I'm here is it's a lot slower pace. Living in Ontario my whole life, there is this constant undertone of anxiety and hustle and bustle. And I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but this is what I feel. But it's also in a really expensive place to live. We are forced to always think finances first. And that, for a lot of people, probably doesn't serve them the best. And what I am so drawn to life out here is it's so much more simple. And taking financial burden away by living in a place that has a better cost of living, a lot less house debt, a lot less pushing paycheck to paycheck, definitely sets you up for that. At least I feel. I'm not sure if any of this makes sense, but when I was talking to Paige and texting her about this, even though it's going to be far from friends and family, and it's going to be probably one of the most challenging things we could ever do, which is build a house ourselves, I feel like this is something that could be right for us.
And I find myself back in front of these two vacant lots that we originally looked at. There's just something about these two properties. They just feel a bit different.
I headed back for a second look by myself to get a better sense of what could be.
Okay, so I found the property line of trees. I'm just following this to try to see what it's like at the lakefront, right on the edge, like right on the edge of the property. Honestly, this property like could be a dream, like literally a dream. Just so curious, so bushy. I'm gonna try, I'm gonna power through. Oh, oh, oh. Tweedone starting here all the way over to this brook. There's some reeds there, but it might be deep enough here, right here. And then this is the rest of the lake. Look at that. That's beautiful. So beautiful. I'm just standing on a rock, right on the edge. This is the dream, right here. This is the dream. I have no idea if it's possible, but if it is possible, within budget, this is the dream come true, right here. How do we make it happen? Who do I need to call? I'm so called to this property. There's just something about it. It's incredible. So after this big exploration of Nova Scotia, trying to find specific properties that called us in, we fell in love with 2 property options. So much so that we actually paid money out of our pockets for a civil engineer to walk all the lots to get a second opinion. And I shot all of this video, not just for you guys, but also so I can show Paige every single detail that she missed while she was at home working and taking care of Benji. And about 2 weeks later, we got a call from our engineer. And the answer was kind of surprising. So how'd it go?
I walked that back lot first, Colin. The one on the, not on the lake. It's a terrible lot.
Okay.
It was bad. It was bad. Then I went and looked at the lake lot. The lake lot's nice. I thought that was decent, and I know you'd have no problem getting a septic permit in there, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but the other lot would be variances, and you're not allowed infilling wetland, and you'd have to infill wetland, in my opinion, just to get a decent house lot in there, right?
Yeah, and which could be probably quite costly, right?
I'd say it'd be at least 20 grand to even try to build a house on that other lot.
Okay, so...
But I don't even know how they got that other lot approved to subdivide.
Oh, interesting. The back lot, the cheaper lot, is kind of just... We should just stay away, right?
Yes,
okay.
100%.
In terms of the lake lot, which we thought maybe it could have concerns, you don't have any major concerns with building there?
No, it'd be fine. It's a good lot. There would be no issues with getting approvals and permits and stuff from what I can see, right?
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
Yeah.
Bye.
Before this call, we were sold on the budget forested lot, and we're worried about issues with the waterfront. But it turns out we had it backwards. And this, my friends, is why you hire a professional.
This is funny because like we were unsure if we were gonna get Steve to check both lots or just the one, because we just thought this forest lot, which was so affordable, would be our best bet trying to make like a budget home. We just let him to do both for peace of mind, and here we are with a result in information that we thought would be
Opposite.
Shouldn't have been approved to subdivide, is what Steve said. So
Thank you, Steve.
There's probably a reason why it's very cheap. This is why you hire professionals. I don't hate a lakefront property.
I don't hate a lakefront property. Stand by. We'll let you know. Sheesh. Well, shout out to Steve. But the adventure doesn't stop here. After that phone call, we're exploring some other places. Stay tuned next week. If you liked that video, you should probably check out this one. And if you want to follow our house adventure, hit subscribe. Oh, sorry, Benj. Go get